اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ألم نشرح لك صدرك ووضعنا عنك وزرك الذي أنقض ظهرك ورفعنا لك ذكرك فإن مع العسر يسرا إن مع العسر يسرا فإذا فرغت فانصب وإلى ربك فارغب. صدق الله العظيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. عن فاطمة الزهراء عليها السلام بنت رسول الله صلى الله عليه قال: سمعت فاطمة أنها قالت: دخل علي أبي رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله في بعض الأيام فقال: السلام عليك يا فاطمة. فقلت: وعليك السلام. قال: إني أجد في بدني ضعفا. فقلت له: أعيذ بك بالله يا أبتاه من ضعف. فقال: يا فاطمة أتتني بالكساء اليماني فأعطيني به. فأتيته بالكساء اليماني فأدعوت به وصرت وانظر إليك وإذا وجدته يتلألأ كأنه بدر في الليل وتمامه وكماله. فما كان إلا ساعة وبولده حسن قد أقبل وقال: السلام عليك يا أماه. فقلت: وعليك السلام يا قرة عيني ويا سمر فؤادي. فقال: يا أماه إني أشم عندك رائحة طيبة كأنها رائحة جدي رسول الله. اللهم صل على محمد وآله. فقلت: نعم إني أجد تحت الكساء. فأقبل حسن نحو الكساء وقال: السلام عليك يا جداه يا رسول الله. أتظن لي أن أدخل معك تحت الكساء؟ فقال: عليك السلام يا ولدي ويا صاحب حوضي، قد أذن لك. فدخل معه تحت الكساء. اللهم صل على محمد. وما كان إلا ساعة وبالولدين حسين عليه السلام أقبل وقال: السلام عليك يا أماه. فقلت: وعليك السلام يا ولدي ويا قرة عيني ويا سمر فؤادي. فقال لي: يا أماه إني أشم عندك رائحة طيبة كأنها رائحة جدي رسول الله. فقلت: نعم إن جدك وأخاك تحت الكساء. فنادى حسين عليه السلام نحو الكساء وقال: السلام عليك يا جداه يا من اختاره الله. أتظن لي أن أكون معكما تحت الكساء؟ وقال: وعليك السلام يا ولدي ويا شافع أمتي، قد أذن لك. فدخل معهما تحت الكساء. فأقبل عنده ذلك أبو حسن علي بن أبي طالب وقال: السلام عليك يا بنت رسول الله. فقلت: وعليك السلام يا أبا حسن ويا أمير المؤمنين. فقال: يا فاطمة إني أشم رائحة طيبة كأنها رائحة أخي وابن عمي رسول الله. فقلت: نعم ها هو مع ولدي تحت الكساء. فأقبل علي نحو الكساء وقال: السلام عليك يا رسول الله. أتظن أتظن لي أن أكون معكم تحت الكساء؟ فقال له وعليك السلام يا أخي ويا وصي ويا خليفتي ويا صاحب ولايي، قد أذن لك. فدخل علي تحت الكساء.
صل على محمد
وآل
ثم
محمد.
أتيت نحو الكساء فقلت السلام عليك يا أبتاه يا رسول الله، أتظن لي أن أكون معكم تحت الكساء؟ فقال وعليك السلام يا بنتي ويا ديعتي، قد أزن لك. فدخل تحت الكساء. فلما أكتملنا جميعا تحت الكساء أخذ أبي رسول الله بطرف الكساء وأما بيده اليمنى إلى السماء وقال اللهم إن هؤلاء أهل بيتي وخاصتي وحامتي، لحمهم لحمي ودمهم دمي، يؤلمني ما يؤلمهم ويحزنني ما يحزنهم. أنا حرب لمن حاربهم وسلم لمن سالمهم وعدل لمن عادلهم ومحب لمن أحبهم، إنهم مني وأنا منهم. فجعل صلواتك وبركاتك ورحمتك وغفرانك ورضوانك عليه علي وعليهم، واسب عنه الرجز وطهركم تطهيرا.
اللهم
صل على محمد وآل محمد.
فقال الله عز وجل ولا فلكا يدور ولا بحرا يجري ولا فلكا يسري إلا لأجلكم ومحبتكم، وقد أذنت لي وأن أدخل معكم فأذن لي يا رسول الله، يا رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. وقال رسول الله وعليك السلام يا أمير الوحي الله، إنه نعم قد أذن لك. فدخل جبريل معنا تحت الكساء.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
فقال لأبيه إن الله قد أوحى إليكم يقول إنما يريد الله ليذهب عنكم الرجز أهل البيت ويطهركم تطهيرا.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
فقال علي لأبيه يا رسول الله أخبرني ما جلسنا هذا تحت الكساء من فضل عند الله. فقال النبي صلى الله عليه وآله والذين بعثني بالحق نبيا واصطفى بالرسالة نجيا، ما ذكر خبرنا هذا في محفلة من محارف أهل الأرض وفي جمع من شيعتنا ومحيبتنا إلا وأن ونزلت عليكم رحمة وحففهم بالملائكة واستغفر لهم إلا أن يتفرقوا. فقال علي عليه السلام إذا والله فزنا وفاز شيعتنا ورب الكعبة.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
وقال أبي رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله: يا علي والذين بعثني بالحق نبيا واصطفاني برسالة نجيا، ما ذكر خبرنا هذا في محفل من محافل أهل الأرض، وفي جمع من شيعتنا ومحبتنا، وفيهم محموم إلا وفرج الله همه، ولا معموما إلا وكسب الله غمه، ولا طالب حاجته إلا وقضى الله حاجه. وقال علي عليه السلام: إذا والله فزنا وسعدنا، وكذلك شيعتنا فازوا وسعدوا في الدنيا والآخرة ورب الكعبة.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل
بر محمد والے محمد صلوات.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
بسم اللہ الرحمن الرحیم. جب اہل حرم کو رہائی مل گئی اور قافلہ تیار ہے، بی بی رباب سلام اللہ علیہ کے لیے بہت مشکل تھا بی بی سکینہ کی قبر سے جانا، تو وہ کیا نوحہ کر رہی ہیں. وہ آپ لوگوں کی دیکھو درود پڑھیں محمد والے محمد.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل.
زندہ سے جب رہا ہوئے سادات کربلا، زندہ سے جب رہا ہوئے سادات کربلا، تو ماں نے لپٹ کے قبر سکینہ پہ دی صدا. کیا صدا سنے، اٹھو سکینہ چلیں کربلا، اٹھو سکینہ چلیں کربلا. زندہ سے جاتا ہے اب قافلہ، اٹھو سکینہ چلے کربلا، اٹھو سکینہ چلے کربلا. بی بی کیا بیان کر رہی ہیں؟ مجھے شاہزادی تمہاری قسم نہ رکھوں گی زندہ سے باہر قدم. مجھے شاہزادی تمہاری قسم نہ رکھوں گی زندہ سے باہر قدم، کہ سفر کی اب ہوتی ہیں تیاریاں، اماری میں بیٹھے ہیں اہل حرم، غربت کا میری تمہیں واسطہ. اٹھو سکینہ چلے کربلا، اٹھو سکینہ چلے کربلا. اور بی بی کا ایک فرزند کربلا میں اس کے حوالے سے کیا کہہ رہی ہیں کہ مجھے یاد اصغر کی ہے بے کسی، لحد سے وہ میت نکالی گئی، مجھے یاد اصغر کی ہے بے کسی، لحد سے وہ میت نکالی گئی، اکیلے میں رہنے نہ دوں گی تمہیں، بھروسہ نہیں شامیوں کا کوئی، رہتے ہیں چاروں طرف آشکیا، اٹھو سکینہ چلے کربلا، اٹھو سکینہ چلے کربلا، اور وہ پہلے کے جیسی تو غربت نہیں، اے بی بی ہماری وہ حالت نہیں، تمہیں شامیوں سے اب اے میری جان کفن مانگنے کی ضرورت نہیں، لو مل چکی ہے تمہاری ردا، اٹھو سکینہ چلے کربلا، چھوٹی سی تربت پہ ماں نے کہا، اٹھو سکینہ چلے کربلا. درود پڑھیں محمد.
I request the brothers who are sitting here to come forward because we are expecting more people. Please come forward.
خصوص امام حسین علیہ السلام بلند آواز سے نہ پڑھیں محمد والے
میں ان کے سلام کی چند شعر حاضر کر رہا ہوں. درود بھیجے محمد والے محمد. اربعین کے سوگوارو، الوداع آخری مجلس ہے یارو، الوداع آخری مجلس ہے یارو، الوداع خاتمہ بالخیر چلوں کا ہوا، الوداع اشک بار، الوداع اشک بارو، الوداع اکبر و اصغر علی کی ضامنی، نوجوانوں شیر خوار، نوجوانوں شیر خوارو، الوداع کہتے تھے گنجے شہیداں پر حرام، فاطمہ زہرا کے پیار، فاطمہ زہرا کے پیارو، الوداع کربلا کی خاک کو سونپا تمہیں، عرش اعظم کے ستار، عرش اعظم کے ستارو، الوداع خبر سے آواز دیتے الوداع اے بہن زینب صدارو الوداع اربعین کے سوگوارو. درود بھیجے محمد و آل محمد. چینوں میں شہدائے کربلا کی مناسبت سے مرثیے کے چند بند ہیں. فاتحہ. اور درود بھیجے محمد و آل محمد. چینم جو کربلا میں 72 کا ہو چکا پیوند بے کسوں کے تنو سر کا ہو چکا اور فاتحہ حسین کے لشکر کا ہو چکا. خبروں پہ شور آل پیغمبر خبروں پہ شور آل پیغمبر کا ہو چکا. ماتم میں 3 روز رہے شور و شین سے روئے لپٹ لپٹ کے مزار حسین سے. مثل چراغ گورے غریباں پہ دل جلائے پھولوں کے ساتھ خبروں پہ لختے جگر پیاروں کے بود و باش کے سامان جو یاد آ بے ساختہ پکارے کلیجے پکڑ بے ساختہ پکارے کلیجے پکڑ کے ہے وہ پردادار ہمارے کدھر گئے بے پردہ ہو کے آلے نبی در بدر گئے. مقتل کے آس پاس یہ بیووں کی تھی فغان زینب جب لہر پہ دھرے کرتی تھی اے میرے کربلائے برادر حسین ہمشی 3 دن سے تمہاری ہے ہمشی 3 دن سے تمہاری ہے مہمان. اللہ میری بات بھی پوچھنا اپنے زندہ کی واردات بھی پوچھنا اپنے. میں جانتی تھی شہر بسا ہوگا بھائی کا ہوگا ہجوم خبر پہ ساری خدائی ہوگا ہجوم خبر پہ ساری خدائی چہلم کروں گی دور سے میں کربلائی کا پرسابیاں کوئی نہیں زہرا کی جائے پرسابیاں کوئی نہیں زہرا کی جائے کا ڈھانپنے کو آپ ہی پلہ بھی لیتی ہوں اور اپنے دل کو آپ ہی پرسا بھی دیتی ہوں. چہلم تو کر چکی میں دل افگار یا حسین اب روزہ کس طرح سے ہو تیار اب روزہ کس طرح سے ہو تیار یا بیٹا بھی اور بہن بھی कभी तो आएंगे सवार आखिर कभी तो आएंगे सवार या हुसैन किया है कार साजिए परवरदिगार पर इस दम तो साहिबां भी नहीं है मजार पर ज़ैनब पुकारी कुछ का सामान हो गया फिर शहर मेरे भाई का वीरान हो गया फिर शहर मेरे भाई का वीरान हो गया और मकबरा हुसैन का सुनसान हो गया भूखा मकाम कत्ल का मैदान भूखा मकाम कत्ल का मैदान हो गया आई मुसाफिरों को मेरे वो ज़मीं पसंद दुनिया में जिस ज़मीन को बस्ती नहीं पसंद ऐ करबलाए सरवरे दिलगीर अलविदाए कत्ल गाहे हजरत शब्बीर ऐ खब्र इब्ने साहिबे तत्हीर अलविदा ऐ भाई जान जाती है हमशीर ऐ भाई जान जाती है हमशीर अलविदा क्या बेनसीब है ये नवासी रसूल की तुमने मुजावरीना हमारी कबूल की भैया उठो कजावे में मुझको तुम ही बिठाओ भैया मैं बेनकाब रहगीरों को हटाओ के खिला तकबरो अब्बास को बुला खाली है गोद भाभी की असगर को लेते खाली है गोद भाभी की असगर को लेते आ सरदार सारे काफिले के आगे होते हैं तैयार कारवां हुआ और आप सोते हैं कब से तुम्हें पुकार रही हूँ मैं खस्ततान है जवाब भी नहीं देते है जवाब भी नहीं देते भैया गले लगा लो तो जाओ सुए भैया गले लगा लो तो जाओ सुए आई निदा से दारो खुदा आई निदा से दारो खुदा हाफिज़
Maulana should be here very shortly. Please, again, if you can come a little bit forward, we'll appreciate because we're expecting more people. Please. I just want to give a brief introduction of Maulana. He's from Toronto. He has a PhD in religious studies from McMaster University, and he's the academic director of a very unique institute called Shia Research Institute, the first of its kind to be established in North America under the guidance of Maulana Sayyid Muhammad Rizvi, associated with University of Toronto. And it's a unique institution. I think more of our young youth should look into that, to go joining this, study religious studies and study Shiaism. And Maulana also has Hausa studies, and so he has a very unique perspective of what social wilaya is. His topic is very pertinent. It says building wilaya-based identity and wilaya-based communities. He has been talking about that for the last 3 days, and inshallah he'll finalize his speech today. So we're just waiting. He's on his way right now.
So can you just summarize what he was speaking about in the last 3 days, since he is not here yet?
Yes, he was talking about what wilaya means. Wilaya means qurbat, or closeness between mu'mineen. So unfortunately, we'll all believe in wilaya, but we really don't understand the significance of this term. So he was talking about a hadith relating how important wilaya is. The fifth Imam was asked by one of his companions, what is the most important aspect of our religion? So the Imam said namaz, roza, hajj, more important than these practices is wilaya of Ahl Bayt. So wilayat is the foundation of the religion. Without wilaya, none of our deeds are accepted. So then that's the wilaya between Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Ahl Bayt, and between mu'mineen. Maulana's stress was the importance of wilaya between mu'mineen. So yesterday he was describing that if two brothers, one of the brothers loses his son, the other brother should feel that he has lost his son. That is the level of closeness. So alhamdulillah, inshallah, with Allah's help, and Maulana will enlighten us more on this. So hopefully we'll develop that kind of wilaya among ourselves. So we are blessed to have Maulana with us, and may Allah increase his tawfiqat and give us the tawfiq to understand his message. So I request Maulana to come and address the Majlis.
Muhammad wa ali Muhammad salawat.
أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من اللعين الغوي الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وبه نستعين، والصلاة والسلام على خيرة خلق الله أجمعين ورحمة الله للعالمين، هو أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد. اللهم صل على والصلاة والسلام على أهل بيته الميامين المهديين المعصومين المظلومين، ولعنة الله دائمة على أعدائهم أجمعين من يوم عداوتهم إلى قيام يوم الدين. أما بعد، أيها المؤمنون والمؤمنات، السلام عليكم جميعا ورحمة الله وبركاته. وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته. عظم الله أجرنا وأجركم بمصابنا بالحسين عليه أفضل الصلاة والسلام. Today is the day of Arbayeen, and in thinking about the day of Arbayeen, of the 40th, yes, and On this particular day is the day of Arbayeen, and we remember Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam, and we remember the fact that we gather in this majlis, and these majalis, of course, don't come out of the sky. People have to prepare. People have to make this place. They have to do all these things in the service of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, and the family who sponsored today is, we recited Surah Fatiha for them, Sayyid Tahir Raza Zaidi, Ibn Sayyid Salim Raza Zaidi, the son-in-law of Jafar and Zahra Naqvi. Rahimallahu man qara Surah al-Mubarak al-Fatiha. And when I think of the day of Arbayeen, just before I get into the subject, as I was coming here, I thought of one thing in my mind, and I just had to begin with this. Today is the day of Zainab bint Ali, when she repatriated with her brother in Karbala. And the poetry and the ahadith, or especially the poetry written by a great Maraj and ulama in Najaf al-Ashraf, the very old classical poetry based on the ahadith, these are written by great scholars. It's based on the hadith. It's called Ash'ar al-Lisan Hal Zainab, describing the situation that Zainab had when seeing her brother Hussein. And then you could imagine after this, she now comes to meet her brother again, except in a very different situation because they're bringing the head of her brother back to his body. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. And there's a beautiful description there where she says, "Akhi ya akhi, ay al-masa'ib ishtaki." Oh my brother, what tragedies do I protest about? What tragedies do I tell Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala about? Firaquka mutuqi am dhillati, wa dhilli wa ghurbati. Do I speak about the loss of our dignity, our humiliation, or our estrangement? Am athawb masluba, or the clothes that were taken from your body? Am al-jism ariyan, or the body that was of her brother that was left without any cover? Am nahar manhura bi sayfin saqila, or the throat that was butchered? Manhur, nahar, right? It's cut on the jugular vein. Am nahar manhura bi sayfin saqila, with a poisoned sword. Am dhahar marduda am al-shayb damiya, or the back. So this is Zainab speaking to her brother. Right? She's meeting her brother, but her brother is not obviously responding. She's speaking to him. She says, or do I turn to Allah about your broken back and the pieces of your back that are broken, or your beard that is stained in blood? Amma shayb damiya, amma ras marfu'a ka badri tajiya, or the head that is taken off of the body into the dark night, that it was on that night that the moon did not even give its light to the head of Hussein ibn Ali. That's how dark it was. Ke badru dajiya, not Laylatul Badr. Amma tifl madbuha, or the baby that was butchered, madbuha. Amma al-qalb damiya, or the heart that is broken, the heart that was injured. Amma dam masfuha bi kulli tanawwifa, or the blood that is everywhere, that when I look and I close my eyes and I'm in front of you, Ya Hussein, all I see is dam. Right? So she's describing the scene of what she encountered. And when she's returning to Karbala, all those memories come back and she's running towards her brother. And all those memories are coming back of begging Umar ibn Sa'd not to kill him, running towards him. إِلَى مَصْرَعِكَ مُبَادِرَاتٍ, right? Imam Zaman says, and they come running towards him. وَالشِّمْرَ جَالِسًا عَلَى صَدْرِهِ, right? And he's sitting on his chest. مُولِخٌ سَيْفٍ بِالنَّحْرِ, holding this dagger or sword to his neck. Right? Ahlul Bayt describe the situation. And Zainab is running. Right? The Nisa of Ahlul Bayt are running. Mubadirat. Meaning this all happened so fast. The horse returned. The women come out. They begin hitting their face. Wa Imama, Wa Husayna. And they're running towards the brother. Zainab is screaming, Ya layta saman taqabat ala al-ard. If only the heaven would fall onto the earth. Telling Umar ibn Sa'd, will you watch while my brother is killed? Right? So all of this, when she returns to Karbala, is a reliving of this. On this Arbayeen. So this is really the day of Zainab bint Ali, al-Masa'ib, the mother of Masa'ib. Jabal al-Sabr, we say in Arabic, in Lugha Arabiya, the mountain of Sabr. Aqilatu Bani Hashim. This is the day of us to give pursa to Sayyidah Zainab as well. And our condolences to her on this 40th of her brother Hussein ibn Ali. Amal wajh makbooban li harr dhahira, or the wajh of my brother that is in the sand. So can you imagine, right? The Arabic language is very profound. How the body of Hussein ibn Ali was left on the ground. Makboob, like just, it's like, you can describe it. Arabic language is very profound. It's not like Urdu and Persian. The lugha of Ahlul Bayt, you have to understand the musibah from the lugha of how Ahlul Bayt describe. It's like taking a piece of cloth and ripping it to pieces and leaving it like that. She's saying this is what my brother's body was like. His clothes had holes in it. And his face was turned over, sitting there. And I could do nothing because why? What do we read in Arbab al-Maqatil? This is in Arbab al-Maqatil. Because they began to hit the women with the ends of their spears. And the women are running, right? And the traditions say that their dresses are on fire. And they're running min khayma ila khayma ila khayma, min fustat ila fustat, trying to look for some salvation, some safety. They didn't even have a moment to mourn for their brother. Now the day of Arbayeen has come. Now their dresses are not on fire today. Perhaps by now their ears have healed from the earrings that were torn from their faces, right? Because the tradition said that they would snatch the earrings from the ears of the daughters of Hussein ibn Ali. So this day of Arbayeen is a profound day. It's a day of great remembrance, of great tragedy, of great contemplation. It's a day when mu'mineen gather together with social wilayah, with that shared love and devotion and commitment to Ahlul Bayt alayhim as-salam, to remember their tragedies. Amma al-abid al-sajjad adha mughallila. Now she says, oh Allah, oh Hussein rather. She's talking to her brother. What do I tell Allah about? Do I tell Allah about the servant Sajjad, who's now in chains? Amma da'iyat al-faqidat hawasira? Or all of these ladies, da'iyat, faqidat, those who have nothing, faqidat, they've lost everything, hawasira meaning like uncovered. كمثل الإماء يشحرن في كل بلدة, like slaves being taken from town to town to town to town. أخي ليت هذا النهر كان من منحري, she says. And this is based on hadith. This is by Ayatollah Sayyid Zanjani, the Imam of the Haram of Rawda Haydariya al-Muqaddasa, Imam Ali, not a nobody. And with the introduction written by Sayyid Bahr al-Ulum. These are our great maraja and our ulama. Zanjani is not a marja, but Bahr al-Ulum. He was a great, great scholar, leads the prayers in the haram of Amir al-Mu'mineen. He says, أخي ليت هذا النهر كمنهري كان منهري. If only that neck and those jugular veins were my jugular veins. Many times Zainab bint Ali salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi offered her life for her brother's life. Many times. It was not once. She says, if only I wish that neck that was slaughtered was my neck. If only Allah, you would allow, give me the ijazat to replace me with my brother. Right, to such an extent that we even read in the Maqatil literature that after when Imam Zain al-Abidin was laying there and he was sick, Sayyidah Zainab went into his tent and he couldn't move. He was sick. It was Ali. He was very, he wasn't able to move. And she comes into the tent to get him. But there was no one to help her. Now think of the weight of Imam Zain al-Abidin, grown man. And Sayyidah Zainab is a lady, the aunt, right? And she dragged him out of the tent. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. And she dragged him out of the tent. I think there's some disturbance today.
Pick up your cell phone.
Yeah. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. And she dragged him out of the tent while the tent was on fire. And she pulled him out by herself. So where did she get the strength from? How many of you can lift a full adult? She lifted a full adult as the tent was on fire. And then the tradition states that when, say, the Sakina was hit by a spear on her head, she falls onto her face. She wakes up and she says, all I could feel when I put my hands on my face is I could feel blood dripping on my face. And I wake up and I turn to my aunt and I ask her, is there any cover, any sitr li ra'si? Is there any cover for my head? Right? This is narrated by Sheikh Bahadin Amuli. All the great ulama narrate this in Arbab al-Maqatil. Najaf al-Ashraf. And she says, then the tradition says that not only that, I could see her back was burned. Well, of course, it would be burnt. She went in to save her nephew with the tent on fire, single-handedly. And then had to save all the little children running in the desert. Some of them, Arbab al-Maqatil says she found already dead. There were children that she found that she could not resuscitate. What was she to do with them? To leave them? She would have to bury them. Abbas is gone. Imam Zain al-Abidin is sick. Who is going to bury the babies, the children that have died? There were children that died of starvation. There were children that died of thirst. She had to carry all of this tragedy and this gham and hum and huzn on her heart. And on that Arbayeen, she now returns to that same spot. This Arbayeen is very profound. It's that reunion between sister and brother. These are those that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, لا تجد قوما يؤمنون بالله واليوم الآخر يوادون من حاد الله ورسوله ولو كانوا آباءهم وأبناءهم أو إخوانهم وعشيرتهم. These are those who you will not find befriending, or these are those you will not find believing in Allah in the last day while loving those who hate God. That they cannot, it is impossible for them to believe in Allah and the day of judgment and at the same time yuaduna man hadallah wa rasulah, to have love or affection for those who hate God and His Messenger, those who fight God and their Messenger. Even if their parents or their children or their tribe or their near ones are on the other side of history, they will remain on that side which is with Allah and His Messenger. Who are these people? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Mujadala 22, أُولَٰئِكَ كَتَبَ فِي قُلُوبِهِمْ الْإِيمَانَ. These are those for whom Iman is inscribed on their heart. وَأَيَّدُهُمْ بِرُوحٍ مِّنْهُ. And Allah assists them with the Spirit. This could be Jibreel or an angel, with the special force, with the Spirit. وَيُدْخِلُهُمْ جَنَّاتٍ تَجْرِي مِنْ تَحْتِهَا الْأَنْهَارِ. And He enters them into heaven, under which rivers flow. خَالِدِينَ فِيهَا رَضِيَ اللَّهُ عَنْهُمْ وَرَضُوا عَنْهُ. Allah is pleased with them, and they are pleased with Allah. أُولَٰئِكَ حِزْبُ اللَّهِ أَلَا إِنَّ حِزْبَ اللَّهِ هُمَ الْمُفْلِحُونَ. This is the party of God, and surely the party of God is successful. This is one of the most beautiful descriptions of Zainab bint Ali. She is the epitome of what it means to be in the party of Allah. The courage, the strength, the fortitude, the patience. And there were moments along the journey when she would cry, but she would have tears in her eyes. We know in Kufa, for example, when Ibn Ziyad started cursing her and cursing Imam al-Hussein, she began to cry. She was a human being. And then, of course, she spoke, but she had tears in her eyes. I mean, look at what happened. But she continued on, continued on, continued on. Just marched on. It's one of the most incredible stories of love between brother and sister. Which brings us to the rights of mu'mineen. To summarize, the right of the believer is to love for their brother or sister what they love for themselves, and to dislike for their brother and sister what they dislike for themselves. To avoid angering their brother and sister. To rush to please their brother and sister. To follow the direction of their brother and sister. To help, number 3, to help their brother and sister with all their hearts, with every ounce of their effort. Number 4, that he be his eye, his guide, and his mirror. That wherever his brother or sister is, their best interest is always at heart. This is what it means, mir'at al-mu'min, mir'at al-mu'min. The believer is a mirror of another believer. That we even read traditions, for example, that if he or she knows that their brother or sister may have a difficult time in something, they remove that obstacle even before their brother or sister or mu'min brother or sister reaches that obstacle. This is a level of foresight that the mu'min has for another mu'min. This is what brotherhood means. وَالْحَقِّ الْخَامِسِ أَنْ لَا تَشْبَعَ وَيُجُوعَ. That you do not satisfy your cravings for hunger while he is hungry. So while Ali Asghar was starving and crying from not having nursed for so many days, وَلَا تَرْوَى وَيَظْمَى, and it says, and you shall remain thirsty while he, or you shall not quench your thirst while he is thirsty. While Ali Asghar, Ali al-Rabi, the suckling baby, was crying and gasping for air, choking in the hot desert air with no milk, no water, no food, because that's his sources of his sustenance, right? Abbas went hungry. Abbas would go thirsty. Salamullahi alayhi Abu Fadl. His father, most importantly, Hussein ibn Ali, would be thirsty until it says قُتِلَ عَطْشَانًا, until he dies thirsty. وَلَا تَلْبِسْ وَيَعْرَى, and he does not even have clothes if his brother does not have clothes. This is a level of concern, not to mean to remain without clothes. It's metaphorical, meaning that's how concerned he is for his brother and sister to have good clothes, to be covered. Yet this was one haqq that they could not fulfill for Imam Hussein at that moment in time. It was not possible because the Zalimin did not allow it to happen. The oppressors. They had to leave Hussein ara. And that was the crime and musibah that punctured the heart of Zainab bint Ali. What sister would want to see her, can stand seeing her brother in that situation? Tarakuhu mujarradan, the hadith says. And mujarrad. Of course he had clothes on, but I mean without his abba and distasha. What gives the honor to the moment, especially to the grandson of the Prophet, without his amama. Because they stole his turban. That's what gives the sharaf, it's a sign of sharaf, sign of honor and dignity. Just take that away from someone is like in the Arabic culture, it's like, na'udhu billah, like, I don't even use the word, but it's the worst thing that you could do to someone. It's terrible. That and the slipper and things like this are like very disgusting things to do. Take his rings, all kinds of things, right? They even had to cut his finger to remove his ring. So when Zainab found him, or Sakina found him, Fatima bint al-Hussein found him, when his daughters found him, this was something, what could they do? Think of their powerlessness, their helplessness. They just screamed to the sky, Wa Husayna, Wa Jadda, Wa Rasulullah. What could they do but scream and yell and cry? Because this was the situation, the hal that they were in. Because this is the haqq of a moment. Number 6, أن يكون لك خادما وليس لأخيك خادم. If you have someone who's a helper in your house and your brother or sister does not have one, فواجب أن تبعث خادمك فيغسل ثيابه ويصنع طعامه. If you have a helper in your home who does your food or cleans your clothes, it's incumbent upon you, if you're able and afford, obviously, and you know your brother does not have this luxury or opportunity, to send your khadim, your house helper, to him or to her. وَيَصْنَعَ طَعَامَ وَيَمْهَدَ فِرَاشًا. So that housemaid can make his bed and cook his food and clean his clothes. So if you have, or I have that privilege or that luxury, and I know my brother can't, let's say, afford that, is having difficult time, it's incumbent upon me, if I'm a woman, to have that much empathy, compassion, and forethought to do that. This is wilayah in action. In action. And otherwise, it's just we cry, and we say, Alhamdulillah, and may inshallah Sayyida Zahra accept all of our tears on this day, and Sayyida Zainab. The women and the banat of Ahlul Bayt, inshallah, accept our sadness for Hussein ibn Ali and the Prophet, of course. But beyond that, they want to see the Shia loving each other, united, doing concrete things for each other. Real things. In addition to their real azadari. This is real, yes, 100%. But this uniting in aza and on the musibat of Ahlul Bayt brings your heart to my heart. Your hearts become one. Because we are joining together with tears and remembrance of this day of Arbayeen. But when we leave here, what do we owe one another is the question. Right number 7. An tubarra qasama. To fulfill his oath. If you or I promise our brother or sister something, we have to fulfill it. وَتُجِيبَ دَعْوَتَهُ, and to answer his call when he needs me. وَتَعُودَ مَرِيدًا وَتَشْهَدَ جَنَازَةً, and to visit him when he's sick, his sickness, when he's sick, and to attend his janazah. This is the haqq. We have to be Ahlul Wafa. We speak about the Wafa of Abbas, Salamullahi alayhi. The Wafa of Ali Askar, of Qasim. They gave their lives, their thirst, their bodies. They allowed their bodies to be filled with arrows and spears. Habib ibn Madahir, Zuhair ibn Qayn, and on. We cannot give something as simple, let's say, as a house cleaner. Not saying that we wouldn't. I'm just saying, of course, Mu'mineen would, but this is just a question, right? This is the point here. Something as simple as that could be our ticket to heaven. The reason why Allah glances at us with rahmah and mercy and maghfirah. As a fellow azadar, as a fellow person of the people of wilayah, to have that compassion, that love, brimming, just flowing from my heart to your heart. وَإِذَا عَلَمْتَ أَنَّ لَهُ حَاجَةً تُبَادِرُهُ إِلَى قَضَائِهَا. And when you know that he has a need, you go immediately. تُبَادِرُهُ إِلَى قَضَائِهَا. You go right away, without delay, without stopping. Not via this, via that. You know, there's two kinds of Uber. There's Uber priority, and then there's Uber, the guy takes 50 million stops. By the time he gets to your pizza, it's cold. The two. This is priority service. One vision. I have to fulfill his need. He has a haja, I have to fulfill it. He needs it done. This is it. This is what it means to be a Shia. This is what it means to be Husseini. This is what it means to be Haydari. This is what it means to be Zainabi. In the name of Zainab, in the name of Haydar, in the name of Hussein, Salamullahi alayhim, in the name of Hassan. So when we rush to fulfill them, we do it in the name of our Imam. Because this is what they want from us. This is the social life that they expect from us. And the Imam goes on to say, وَلَا تُلْجِئُهُ أَنْ يَسْأَلَكَهَا. And you don't even wait for him to ask you. Like he shouldn't have to come to you or feel like burdened or obliged to even ask you. يسألكها ولكن تبادره مبادرة. You do it right away. Meaning that we should be aware. We should have that emotional intelligence. Just like we write down the 40 mu'mineen to remember in Salatul Layl, Namaz al-Shab, maybe we should write down the 40 needs of 40 believers as well. If we want to remember them in our dua, what's the best way of helping them? Especially the ones that are ahya minna, alive among us. There are 40 needs. And then make it a goal. This month I'm going to help 40 mu'mineen, 10 mu'mineen, whatever is within one. Not even with money necessarily, just with giving them a helping hand. Whatever one is able to do. These are practical things that we can take right now to be the best azadar of Imam Hussein. And relive that the ethos of Karbala that brought people together from all different corners and tribes and races, united under that flag of Wilayah of Ahlul Bayt. Each of them competing with one another as to who will give their life first for each other. We know this. Even Wahab ibn Habab al-Kalbi, Christian convert, you know. فَإِذَا فَعَلْتَ ذَلِكَ وَسَلْتَ وِلَايَتَكَ بِوِلَايَتِهِ. Then the Imam says, when you do this and you fulfill these rights, your wilayah is attached to his wilayah. So your wilayah connects. وَوِلَايَتَهُ بِوِلَايَتِكَ. Because we have a shared wilayah. It's not a concept in theory. This is what the Ahlul Bayt have taught us. Because we're Ahlul Wilayah. As soon as we're connected to Allah and Imam, we are connected by default to each other. So the completion of that wilayat, which is a part of Usul al-Din, Imam and wilayah, its completion, its furnishing, its beautification, its zinat, is through us completing the circle. The circuit has to be completed. And the completion of the circuit is by us serving one another. In the name of that wilayah and that love of Ahlul Bayt. Then we become, in its complete sense, inshallah, the mawaleen of Ahlul Bayt. The true, dutiful, obedient servants of the Ahlul Bayt. Sallu ala Muhammad. I just wanted to mention a hadith on death today. Just two brief things, and then we'll speak about Ahlul Haram and the very difficult situation that they went through in Kalam of Imam Zain al-Abidin. The Imam was asked, Ja'far ibn Muhammad ibn Ammar an Abihi an Abi Abdullah, from Imam Bakr. قلت له أخبرني عن أصحاب الحسين. So the companion, Muhammad ibn Ammar, from his father, asked Imam Bakr, tell us about the companions of Imam Hussein. وإقدامهم على الموت. And they're hastening to their death. Look at what he says. فقال إنهم كشف لهم الغطاء وكشف لهم الغطاء كشف لهم الغطاء. That the veil was lifted for them as they went towards death. حتى رأوا منازلهم من الجنة. until they already saw their position in Jannah. So even before they died, as they went out into battle, the Sahaba of Imam Hussein could already see their positions in Jannah. This is why, mu'mineen, we cannot compare other people to Ashab of Imam Hussein. Even though they are not ma'soom, because Ahlul Bayt have told us about their maqam, we cannot draw a comparison. We cannot say, this person is like Habib, this person is like Zuhair, this person is like Qasim. No, because these people saw their position in heaven already. فكان الرجل منهم يقدم على القتل ليبادر إلى الحوراء يعانقها إلى مكانه من الجنة. And as he went out into battle, it was as if his companion in heaven was already accompanying him to his place in heaven. When one sacrifices himself for Hussein ibn Ali, this is how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that even before that final last breath is done, they were already entering paradise, spiritually speaking. Isn't that amazing? This is Ashab al-Hussein, Ansar al-Hussein, not Abu Abdullah. Abu Abdullah, that is, the tongue cannot, I mean, when we think about it, the tongue is tied. This is the slaves of Abu Abdullah, the khuddam of Abu Abdullah, his servants, the ghulam of Abu Abdullah. So what about Abu Abdullah himself? I mean, I'll read to you one hadith. I had to read this to you. Saduq narrates in Kamaluddin wa Itmam wa Ni'mah, because this is a day of Arbayeen. Hearts are soft. We narrate these traditions today. Saduq narrates in Kamaluddin from Imam Rida, from Imam Jawad with a sanad going all the way to Imam Hussein himself. So Imam Hussein is narrating this to us. From Imam Zain al-Abidin, from Imam Hussein, from the Prophet himself. Okay? In which the Prophet talks about the birth of Hussein ibn Ali. Salamu alayhi. Talks about his birth. And he says that in honor of the purified birth of Hussein, the fact that he was created by Allah before existence itself, and that he was purified by Allah before existence itself, in honor of this nutfa, mubarakah, zakiyya, this purified existence of Hussein ibn Ali, this is a word that Rasulullah uses in hadith. In honor of this, Allah revealed to me a dua. This is narrated from Hussein ibn Ali to Saduq and Kamaluddin. So, what Itmam wa Ni'mah. Not from here and there. Abu Abdullah is narrating to us from the Prophet. And think of, pause here, how old was he then? Who can do the math? How old was Imam Hussein? Let us say even in the last year or the last 2 years of the life of the Prophet. 5? And even younger. Just let that register as well. This is way before Karbala, obviously. He's already... Karbala was not needed for Imam Hussein to be Imam Hussein. So he says that because of this creation of Hussein ibn Ali, anyone who recites this supplication that Allah has taught me will be raised by Allah as Hussein, as his shafi'ah, as his intercessor in the next world. وَفَرَجَ اللَّهُ عَنْهُ كَرْبًا, and Allah will relieve him of his difficulties. وَقَدَ بِهَا دَيْنًا, and He will alleviate him of his loans. وَيَسِّرْ أَمْرًا, and He will make his affair easier. وَأَوْدَحَ سَبِيلًا, He will make his path more clear. وَقَوَّاهُ عَلَى عَدُوٍ, and empower him over his enemy. Okay, very interesting. Ubay ibn Ka'b asked the Prophet, what is dua? Right? Imam is narrating the story. Imam Hussein is narrating. Ubay asked the Prophet, what is the dua? Prophet says, As'aluka bi kalimati. This is Allah teaching the Prophet the dua. Oh Allah, I ask you by your words, wa ma'akadi arshik, and the pillars of your throne, meaning by the greatness of your throne, is what it means. Wa sukana samawatik, and the various parts of your heaven. Wa ardik, and your earth. Wa anbiya'ik, and your prophets. Wa rusulik, and your messengers. An tastajiba li, that you respond to my dua. فَلِي فَقَدْ رَحَقَتْنِي مِنْ عَمْرِ عُسْرٍ, and that my situation in life has become so difficult. رَحَقَتْنِي مِنْ عَمْرِ عُسْرٍ. I'm in such a hard situation, oh Allah. فَاسْأَلُكَ أَن تُصَلِّ عَلَى مُحَمَّدٍ وَآلِ مُحَمَّدٍ, and I ask you to send your salawat, your blessings on Muhammad and Ali Muhammad. وَأَن تَجْعَلْ لِي مِنْ عُسْرِي يُسْرًا, and to make my difficult affair easier. But what does Rasulullah say? This is for the lovers of Hussein ibn Ali. This is for the khuddam of Hussein ibn Ali, for the servants of Hussein ibn Ali, especially on the day of Arbayeen. What does Rasulullah say? That he narrates to us from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala about this. He says, فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ عَزَّ وَجَلَّ, Rasulullah says, for surely Allah, يُلْقِنُكَ شَهَادَةً أَن لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا اللَّهِ إِنَّ خُرُوجِ نَفْسِكَ, that Allah will teach you La ilaha illallah when you're about to die. Allah will do your talqeen. Yulqinuka Allah. What is greater than La ilaha illallah at death? What is greater than that? And Allah will ensure that this person says La ilaha illallah. Shahada an La ilaha illallah inda khuruji nafsik. Because of the creation of Hussein ibn Ali and your love for Hussein and your service of Hussein and the majlis of Hussein and the azab of Hussein ibn Ali. And the ziyarah. And then what about the ziyarah of Hussein? We haven't even come to ziyarah of Hussein. I mean, so then when we understand the importance of ziyarah and ziyarat Arbayeen, this is all put in context. And it all comes back to La ilaha illallah. Sallu ala Muhammad wa Mu'mineen, we read that Ahlul Bayt, when they were in Sham, the situation, Saduq narrates in his Amali that they were in prison without a cover. That there was no cover in the prison. So because of that, the skin would peel. حَتَّى تَقَشَّرَتْ وُجُوهُهُمْ. I'm reading exactly word for word. Until the faces on their skin would peel. Like it would become, it was affected negatively, of course, by the wind and the sun. And because when they were first put into prison, as according to the riwayah that Saduq narrates in Al-Amali, they didn't have a cover in Sham. So it was clearly a very terrible situation in a cold prison cell. So you could imagine in that situation that children could die. I mean, a little baby, my little one is 8. Some of you might have little ones in the room too. I'm sure many of you have little ones. They may not survive the night. It is not unreasonable to understand that little kids would die. It's not unreasonable. If they don't die from fear, if they don't die from hunger, from thirst, from the weather, it is not surprising that there would be little shuhada along the way. Because this was the level of torture and disrespect and dhillat that Banu Umayyah tried to show to Ahlul Haram. And of course, we know that they were dragged through the desert from town to town. And when it came time to returning their belongings, Imam Zain al-Abidin turns to Yazid. This is narrated by Abu Mikhlaf and other people, Ibn Tawus, that they had stolen things from Imam Hussein, from the khayma and the tent of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. Among those things was the mill of Fatima. Among those was her makna, the veil of Bibi Fatima was stolen. وَقِلَادَتُهَا وَقَمِيسُهَا, and her necklace and her blouse. So Imam Zain al-Abidin asks for the belongings to be returned from Yazid. And most importantly was Ra'sul Hussein. Right? Because there's two riwayas about Ra'sul Hussein. Probably they both can coexist. It's okay in the history. That they nailed it to the wall or the door in the court. That's one. And at times the head of Hussein would be under a bucket, in a bucket under a chess table where they would pour beer and alcohol. This is narrated from Saduq and others in the early books of Hadith. Banu Umayyah, these were animals. They're not the shayateen. Right? To such an extent that while they're playing chess, they would be drinking alcohol, and under it would be the Ra's of Hussein ibn Ali. And when the one would lose, they would pour that on the head of Hussein ibn Ali. This was a level of zillah in Arabic that they showed to Ahlul Bayt. Now imagine the children of Ahlul Bayt having to be forced to subjected to this. So Imam Zain al-Abidin asks for the head back. Eventually he gets it back after some difficulty, so that the head could be repatriated to the body in Karbala. And this is one of the reasons why chess is at least disliked or not allowed, according to some Maraja. There's reasons for this. The Ahadith, that's not the only reason, but this is one of the things that contributes to the issue of chess. Not making a fiqh argument, I'm just saying that this is a part of the discussion and thinking. As the head of Imam Hussein was returned, and Ahlul Haram returned to Karbala, Zainab runs to the body of Hussein ibn Ali. Talaqahu bil buka. They meet Jabir bin Abdullah, Ibn Tawus and others indicate, and they meet them with tears and crying. وَأَقَامُوا الْمَآتَمْ, and they begin to do matam. وَنَادَتْ بِصَوْتٍ حَزِينٍ, and they begin to scream, and they begin to cry. What do they say, brothers? وَأَخَا وَحُسَيْنَ وَابْنَ مَكَّةَ وَمِنَّا وَابْنَ فَاطِمَةَ الزَّهْرَاء وَابْنَ عَلِيَّ الْمُرْتَضَى. So the women are crying loudly. Fatima bint al-Hussein falls onto the grave of Hussein ibn Ali. Rubab comes, she begins to cry. Ibn Athir states that Rubab fainted. She fainted on the grave of her husband Hussein ibn Ali. Remember, I already narrated to you that in Kufa she was kissing the head of her husband in her lap. Now the head is repatriated to the body, is brought back to the body. And this is the situation. Jabir bin Abdullah arrives. He says, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein. Al-Habib la yujibu habibah. The beloved is not answering his beloved. Jabir is heartbroken. قَدْ شَحَتَتْ أَوْدَاجِكَ عَلَى أَثْوَاجِكَ. That basically he's saying your body, the top part of your body was broken off from the bottom part of your body. Jabir is describing the maqtal of Imam Hussein alayhi salam when he arrives in Karbala. وَاشْهَدُ أَنَّكَ مَضَيْتَ عَلَى مَا مَدَ عَلَيْهِ أَخُوكَ يَحْيَى ibn Zakariya. And I testify that you died on the way and in the way of Yahya ibn Zakariya, your brother Yahya ibn Zakariya. Jabir was dazed, confused, in shock. You could imagine just moving side to side. The situation was very, you cannot describe it. I mean, he is in a state of complete confusion, tears, just weeping. The women are weeping. There's ma'tam going on. This is day of Arbayeen. Eventually, they would return to Medina. Imam Zain al-Abidin sets up camp outside the city. I will finish very briefly. He says, Ya Ahl al-Yathrib la muqam lakum biha. Oh, the people of Medina, there is no more place for you here. Qutil al-Hussein, fadmu'i midrara. Hussein has been killed. And this has made me to constantly cry now. So because of this, oh Medina, there's no more place here. Oh people, this is no longer your place. The body of Hussein, الجسم منه بكربلاء مدرج. And his body lays there stained in blood in Karbala. وَرَأْسْ مِنْهُ عَلَى الْقَنَاةِ يُدَارُ. And his head is being paraded on a spear, ushered from place to place to place. I'll now read the kalam of Imam Zain al-Abidin and what happened. Ali ibn Hussein and his sisters have now arrived. As the women hear this, they begin to hit their cheeks. Bashir says, I've never heard more wailing and crying than on this day. The whole of Medina erupts into tears. And they begin to do ma'tam, meaning they begin to grieve, they begin to cry. All chaos is broken loose. The people begin to run out of the city of Medina to greet Imam Zain al-Abidin, to begin to give their condolences to Imam Zain al-Abidin. Imam sits on the chair. He has a handkerchief in his hand. He begins to cry. He says, Qutila Abu Abdullah al-Hussein Masrata. Hussein has been killed and his family has been killed. وَسُبِيَ نِسَاؤُهُ وَالسَّبِيتَ. And his family has been taken captive. وَالسَّبِيَتَهُ. And his children have been taken captive. His head has been paraded from city to city upon a spear. This is a tragedy like no other. The seven heavens cry over Abu Abdullah. لَقَدْ بَكَّتَ السَّبْعَ الشَّدَادِ لِقَتْلِي وَبَكَّتَ الْبِحَارِ بِأَمْوَاجِهَا. And the waves even cry over Hussein ibn Ali. The seas are raging in tears over Hussein ibn Ali. وَالسَّمَوَاتِ بِأَرْكَانِهَا وَالْأَرْضِ بِأَرْجَائِهَا وَالْأَشْجَارِ بِأَعْضَائِهَا. And the trees and the branches cry over Hussein ibn Ali. This was the speech of Hussein ibn Ali. It is narrated in Safinatul Bihar, and Alama Zanjani in Wasilatul Darain reports. Imam Sadiq tells us that when news was brought to al-Baneen, how would the news come to al-Baneen? Now we come to al-Baneen. May Allah be pleased with her. تخرج إلى البقيع. She comes out to the graveyard of al-Baqi. فتندب بنيها. And she begins to mourn over her sons. ندبة نحرقها. فيجتمع الناس إليها يسمعون منها. The people gather around her to listen. I'll narrate to you. She says, woe to you, لا تدعوني ويك البنين. Woe to you, do not call me البنين. I was known as the den that kept the lions, تذكريني بليوث العرين. I was known as the den that had the lions. كانت بنون لي. I had children, I was known by them. واليوم أصبحت ولا من بنيني. But today I've woken up, today I have come with no more children. So how can I now be al-Baneen? In the literal sense, where are the children now? There were 4 like 100 eagles. Each of them met their death with their jugular veins severed. Each of them had their jugular veins severed. The spears competed to pierce their bodies, and every one of them died in battle. She then says, Ya layta sha'ri. I wish I knew that there was more than meets the eye. بِأَنَّ عَبَّاسٍ قَطِيعُ الْيَمِينِ. Because my Abbas had his right hand cut. My Abbas had his right hand cut. قَطِيعُ الْيَمِينِ. Sadiq says that the people came out and they began to cry. Even the one with the hardened heart on that day cried when they heard the Marafi and Marfiya of al-Baneen, alayha afdal salatu wassalam, Matima Hussein.
چہلم کرے گی زینب مہمان کربلا کا، چہلم کرے گی زینب مہمان کربلا کا، اکبر سے دل ربا کا، اصغر سے محل خاکا، چہلم کرے گی زینب مہمان کربلا کا، زندہ سے چھٹ کے قیدی صحرائے کربلا میں، زندہ سے چھٹ کے قیدی صحرائے کربلا میں، ماتم کرے گی برپا شہدائے کربلا کا، چہلم کرے گی زینب مہمان 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 کربلا کا، رو کر پکاری زینب مجبور تھی میں بھیا، رو کر پکاری زینب مجبور تھی میں بھیا، ورنہ پہن یہ دیتی تم کو کفن رضا کا، چہلم کرے گی زینب مہمان کربلا کا، چہلم کرے گی زینب مہمان کربلا کا، زندہ کی سختیوں سے نہ بچ سکی سکینہ، زندہ کی سختیوں سے نہ بچ سکی سکینہ، گھٹ گھٹ کے ہائے نکلا دم تیری محل خاکا، چہلم کرے گی زینب مہمان کربلا کا، چہلم کرے گی زینب مہمان کربلا کا، جاتی ہوں میں مدینہ مجرا لو میرا بھیا، جاتی ہوں میں مدینہ مجرا لو میرا بھیا، آنا سے کہنے سارا احوال کربلا کا، چہلم کرے گی زینب مہمان کربلا کا، چہلم کرے گی زینب مہمان کربلا کا، رو کر بشیر بولا ہے مدینے والو، رو کر بشیر بولا ہے مدینے والو، مارا گیا نواسا سلطان کربلا کا چہلم کرے گی زینب مہمان کربلا کا چہلم کرے گی زینب مہمان کربلا کا حسین 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 شبیر کا چہلم ہے 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 زندہ کے علم سہ کر جب وار سے غم آئے کربل کی فضاؤں میں پابند ستم آئے فریاد و فغاں کرتے سب اہل حرم آئے فریاد و فغاں کرتے سب اہل حرم آئے زینب نے کہا اٹھو عباس کے ہم آئے شبیر کا چہلم ہے شبیر کا چہلم ہے شبیر کا چہلم ہے شبیر کا چہلم ہے گالوں پہ سکینہ کے وہ نیل تماشوں کے زخمی تھا بدن اس کا دروں کی اذیت سے ہر کام پہ کہتی تھی امو ہے کہاں میرے ہر کام پہ کہتی تھی امو ہے کہاں میرے زینب نے کہا اٹھو عباس کے ہم آئے شبیر کا چہلم ہے شبیر کا چہلم ہے شبیر کا چہلم ہے شبیر کا چہلم ہے پھر تو پر زہرا پر آفت کی گھڑی آئی تھے شام کی راہوں میں ہر سمت تماشائی اور طوق میں جھگڑا تھا عابد کا گلا بھائی اور طوق میں جھگڑا تھا عابد کا گلا بھائی زینب نے کہا اٹھو عباس کے ہم آئے شبیر کا چہلم ہے شبیر کا چہلم ہے شبیر کا چہلم ہے شبیر کا چہلم ہے دربار و حاکم کا سرناگ تیرا کنبا چادر کی عوض ہم نے بالوں سے کیا پردہ بھیا تیری زینب کے بازو تھے رسن بستہ بھیا تیری زینب کے بازو تھے رسن بستہ زینب نے کہا اٹھو عباس کے ہم آئے شبیر کا چہلم ہے شبیر کا چہلم ہے شبیر شبیر کا چہلم ہے، شبیر کا چہلم ہے،
روداد سفر کیسے صغرا کو سناؤں گی، ہے نیل جو بازو پر کس طرح چھپاؤں گی، پوچھے جو اگر تم کو کیا اس کو بتاؤں گی،
پوچھے جو اگر تم کو کیا اس کو بتاؤں گی،
زینب نے کہا اٹھو عباس کے ہم آئے،
شبیر کا چہلم ہے، شبیر کا چہلم ہے، شبیر کا چہلم ہے، شبیر کا چہلم ہے،
احساس کی دنیا کا پردرد تھا وہ منظر، تھا حشر بپاغا زینب کا بیان سن کر، زندہ میں سکینہ کو کھو آئی تیری خواہر،
زندہ میں سکینہ کو کھو آئی تیری خواہر،
زینب نے کہا اٹھو عباس کے ہم آئے،
شبیر کا
چہلم ہے، شبیر کا چہلم ہے، شبیر کا چہلم ہے، شبیر کا چہلم ہے، شبیر کا چہلم ہے،
سادات کربلا، سادات کربلا، چہلم کو کربلا میں جب آئیں وہ بیویاں، سادات
کربلا، سادات کربلا،
ہر بی بی کر رہی تھی کچھ اس طرح سے گریا، سادات
کربلا، سادات کربلا،
چہلم کو کربلا میں جب آئیں وہ بیویاں،
سادات کربلا، سادات کربلا،
اے کچھ بیویاں یہاں ہیں کچھ بیویاں وہاں، کرتی ہوئی فغاں،
کرتی ہوئی فغاں،
ارے بکھری ہوئی تھی مقتل سرور میں جا بجا،
سادات کربلا، سادات کربلا، چہلم کو کربلا میں جب آئی وہ بیویاں، سادات کربلا، سادات کربلا،
ایک بیوی دشت خونی میں جاتی ہے نہر پر، کہتی بچشم تر،
کہتی بچشم تر،
ارے عباس دینے آئی ہوں پرسا سکینہ کا،
سادات کربلا، سادات کربلا، چہلم کو کربلا میں جب آئی وہ بیویاں، سادات کربلا، سادات کربلا،
اے گھٹ گھٹ کے لاڈلی تیری زندہ میں غربت وہیں بنی
غربت وہیں بنی
ارے بھیا وہ قید سے نہ ہوئی مر کے بھی جدا سادات
کربلا سادات کربلا تم کو کربلا میں جوانی کو بیویاں سادات کربلا سادات کربلا
اکبر کی قبر پر یوں ہوئی لیلا نوحہ کر دیکھا نہ سال بھر
دیکھا نہ سال بھر
ارے آئی ہوں قید شام سے اب ہو کے میرے ہاں
سادات کربلا سادات کربلا تم کو کربلا میں جوانی وہ بیویاں سادات کربلا سادات کربلا
بانو یہ بین کرتی ہے میرے بے زباں ماں ڈھونڈے اب کہاں
ڈھونڈے اب کہاں
ارے بتلا دے ہے کہاں میرا اصغر کربلا
سادات کربلا سادات کربلا تم کو کربلا میں جوانی وہ بیویاں سادات کربلا سادات کربلا
اے قربان تیرے میرے ماں جائے بے وطن مجبور تھی بہن
مجبور تھی بہن
ارے زندہ میں مجھ سے تیری امانت ہوئی جدا
سادات کربلا سادات کربلا تم کو
Ya Hussein,
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 Hussein, Hussein, Hussein, Hussein, Hussein, Hussein, Hussein, Hussein, Hussein,
Gul Zahra, Aswar, Gul Zahra, Gul Zahra, Aswar,
Gul Zahra, Asghar,
माँ की तमन्ना असवर
Gul Zahra, Asghar, Gul Zahra, Asghar,
मादर गमगी मेरी जान
Madar Hamgi Meri Jaan,
दिल को संभाले किस उन्वान
Madar Hamgi Meri Jaan,
देख वीरा और सुल्तान
Ek Veera aur Sultan,
खाली झूला है असगर
Gul Zahra hai Asghar, Gul Zahra hai Asghar,
वन में अकेले सोते हो
میں اکیلے سوتے ہو
رات کو تنہا ہوتے ہو
بن میں اکیلے سوتے ہو
شیر خدا کے پوتے ہو
شیر خدا کے پوتے ہو
در کے نہ رونا ہے اصغر
اے گل صحرا ہے اصغر اے گل صحرا ہے اصغر
طفلی میں ہمت کی تم نے
طفلی میں ہمت کی تم نے
پیر و جوان سے بڑھ چڑھ کے
طفلی میں ہمت کی تم نے
کھیل کے آئے پیروں سے
آئے پیروں سے
دشت میں کس جا ہے اصغر
اے گل صحرا ہے اصغر اے گل صحرا ہے اصغر
کس نے ستم یہ ڈھایا ہے
کس نے ستم یہ ڈھایا ہے
تیر کہاں پہ کھایا ہے
کس نے ستم یہ ڈھایا ہے
ہائے کہاں مرجھایا ہے
ہائے کہاں مرجھایا ہے
پھول سا چہرہ ہے اصغر
اے گل صحرا ہے اصغر اے گل صحرا ہے اصغر
مرتی ہے مادر اس غم میں
مرتی ہے مادر اس غم میں
بیویاں کیوں ہے ماتم میں
مرتی ہے مادر اس غم میں
گھر سے نکلتے ہی ایک دم میں
گھر سے نکلتے ہی ایک دم میں
ڈل گیا من کا ہے اصغر
اے گل صحرا ہے اصغر اے گل صحرا ہے اصغر
بے کس و تنہا ہے غزہ
بے کس و تنہا ہے غزہ
چھوڑا ہے پردیس پہ تھا
بے کس و تنہا ہے غزہ
تم سے بچھڑ کر کون ہے
تم سے بچھڑ کر کون ہے
میرا سہارا ہے اصغر
اے گل صحرا ہے اصغر اے گل صحرا ہے اصغر
کتنے غافل سوتے ہو
کتنے غافل سوتے ہو
ماں ہو صد پہ جل اٹھو
کتنے غافل سوتے ہو
جاتے ہیں رن میں مرنے کو
رن میں مرنے کو
آپ کے بابا ہے اصغر
اے گل صحرا ہے اصغر اے گل صحرا ہے اصغر اے گل صحرا ہے اصغر
لو شہ دل گر چلے
وہ شہے دل گر چلے
مقتل کو شابیر چلے
وہ شہے دل گر چلے
لو ادھر سے تیر چلے
ادھر سے تیر چلے
حشر ہے برپا ہے اصغر
اے گل صحرا ہے اصغر اے گل صحرا ہے اصغر اے گل صحرا ہے اصغر
الوداع 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 اے حسین
الوداع 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 اے حسین
الوداع الوداع مجلسیں
یہ صدائے صبح اور یہ مجلسیں
ماتم و نوح اور غم کی یہ زینتیں
ماتم و نوح اور غم کی یہ زینتیں
چاہتا ہے یہ دل یوں ہی قائم رہے
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 پھٹتا ہے دل کس طرح یہ کہے
الوداع 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 اے حسین الوداع 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 اے حسین
بخش دے ہو گئی ہو جو کوئی خطا
بخش دے ہو گئی ہو جو کوئی خطا
حق کی خدمت نہ ہم سے ادا ہو سکا
حق کی خدمت نہ ہم سے ادا ہو سکا
ہم یہی ہے نصیب بھر کے ماتم کیا
یہی ہے نصیب بھر کے ماتم کیا
ہم یہی ہے نصیب بھر کے ماتم کیا
یہی ہے نصیب بھر کے ماتم کیا
تیری خاطر میں کیوں اپنا سر دے دیا
الوداع 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 اے حسین الوداع 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 اے حسین
جیے سال بھر پھر کریں گے یہ غم
یہ سال بھر پھر کریں گے یہ غم
روئیں گے پھر تیرے غم میں مل کر بہار
ہوئیں گے پھر تیرے غم میں مل کر بہار
اور اگر مر گئے تو یہ ہوگا حالات
اور اگر مر گئے تو یہ ہوگا اللہ
اور اگر مر گئے تو یہ ہوگا حالات
اور اگر مر گئے تو یہ ہوگا اللہ
ہائے افسوس جی بھر کے روئے یہاں
الوداع 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 اے حسین الوداع 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 اے حسین
میرے مہمان ہے آخری یہ سلام
میرے مہمان ہے آخری یہ سلام
تجھ پہ قربان ہے آخری یہ سلام
تجھ پہ قربان ہے آخری یہ سلام
شاہدی شان 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 ہے آخری یہ سلام
دل ہے ویران ہے آخری یہ سلام
الوداع 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 اے حسین الوداع 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 اے حسین
الوداع اے حسین اے حسین الوداع
الوداع اے حسین الوداع
الوداع اے شاہ مشرقین الوداع
الوداع اے شاہ مشرقین الوداع
بنت احمد کے نور عین الوداع
احمد کے نور عین الوداع
بنت احمد کے نور عین الوداع
احمد کے نور عین الوداع
ہے مجاہد کے لب پر یہ بین الوداع
الوداع الوداع الوداع
Hussein,
Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Maula, Hussein, Maula, Hussein, Maula, Hussein, Maula, Hussein, 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 Maula, Hussein,
السلام علیکم یا رسول اللہ، السلام علیکم یا نبی اللہ، السلام علیکم یا امیر المومنین سید الوسیین، السلام علیکم الحسن المجتبیٰ، السلام علیکم یا ابا عبداللہ حسین، السلام علیکم فاطمۃ الزہرا سیدۃ نساء العالمین، السلام علیکم خطیبۃ الکبریٰ ام المؤمنین، السلام علی الحسین وعلی علی ابن الحسین وعلی اولاد الحسین، خصوصاً سیدی مولاي قاسم الحسن مسلم بن عقیل وعلی ابن وحبیب بن مظاہر، السلام علیکم علی ابن الحسین، محمد ابن علی، جعفر ابن محمد وموسیٰ ابن جعفر وعلی ابن موسیٰ ومحمد ابن علی وعلی ابن محمد والحسن ابن علی، السلام علیکم صاحب العصر والزمان، امام الانس والجان، خلیفۃ الرحمن، اجل اللہ تعالی فرجک، السلام علیکم ورحمۃ اللہ وبرکاتہ۔
صلی اللہ محمد وآل محمد۔
الرحمن الرحیم
اللهم كل وليك الحجة ابن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا معينا حتى تسكنه أرضك طوعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين.
Brothers will have Salat al-Jamaat in a few minutes. If Maulana will lead the Jamaat prayers. Time